Yo, what's up? Welcome to the Deal Sauce Live Part 2. That's how they say it in Canada. In French Canada, they say deux. Because if you're not number one, you're deux. Get it? Deux means two in French, by the way. Good to see you guys. I am super excited for what we're going to get into today. If you joined us for the last Deal Sauce Live, you have learned the secret sauce, how investors are getting their hands on dope deals, how we are dialed right in directly to the MLS for on-market deals, how we're getting some of the best skip tracing that exists, how we're using AI to filter our lists down, and on top of that, how we are comping properties better than anyone else on the planet using this beautiful software. And we're here for round two. We're going to dive into more details, more uses, more functions. I got so many DMs from you guys asking for a little bit of a deeper dive. And so we're going to dive deep today. And I have a really special friend joining me to do it. So some of you guys might remember I've done some lives in the past year with Jenna Hoover. If you are familiar with Jenna Hoover, I want you to put a fire emoji in the chat. If you know who Jenna Hoover is, put a fire emoji in the chat. If you don't know who Jenna Hoover is, I want you to put a sad face emoji in the chat. If you don't know who Jenna Hoover is, put a sad face emoji in the chat. Because I personally think if you don't have a Jenna Hoover in your life, if you don't have a friend as awesome as her, as talented as her, and as smart as she is, then your life kind of sucks. So I'm going to change that today because I'm going to introduce you to my very special friend who's going to help us walk through the Deal Sauce platform and just show you guys why it's so revolutionary. So before I bring her up, I want to, wow, there's so many new people here that she's going to get to meet, and you guys are going to get to meet as well. So amazing. That makes me super excited. So let's first talk about Deal Sauce, what you use it for. So, because I'm going to get a ton of you guys asking in the chat, oh, do I still need investor base? Do I still need this? Do I still need that? I'm going to tell you all exactly right now which platforms this replaces and which platform this doesn't replace. Okay. So right off the bat, if you're using Privy, you're probably using Privy for MLS deals. You're probably using Privy for comping. And you are definitely overpaying because it is dramatically more expensive than Deal Sauce. So it replaces Privy for direct access to the MLS. It replaces Privy for comping, which in my opinion was one of the best uses. Why Privy was so dope is because it was really great for these things. And when Pace and I developed Deal Sauce, we wanted to make sure that we not only did as well as Privy, but a little better. Okay, next, if you've got batch leads, I love the owners of batch leads. Please don't take this as like any shade there because they're my homeboys and homegirls. But if you've got batch leads, you're likely using it for lead lists, right? Where you're going to get direct to seller lead lists, and then you're skip tracing those lead lists, and then you're calling homeowners and finding out if they are interested in selling their property. If you have batch leads, then this will absolutely replace that at a much better price. All right. If you have PropStream, then you probably started real estate investing in the early 90s and you shouldn't be here. Just kidding. No, PropStream is also awesome. The difference between PropStream and what we have in Deal Sauce, PropStream does not have direct access to the MLS. This does. PropStream does not have as good of skip tracing. If you've ever used the skip tracing in PropStream, it could get way better, but it's not. And so there is a ton of uses for Deal Sauce. Now, what Deal Sauce will not replace, in my honest opinion, okay, and if it would, I would be straight up and just tell you it would replace it so that you guys could all jump on a Deal Sauce because I own Deal Sauce with Pace, okay? I want you to use Deal Sauce instead of everything else. Just full disclaimer here. Am I biased? You better believe it. I'm absolutely biased. I'm so biased because we made this. Pace and I built this for you, okay? This does not replace Investor Base. This does not replace Investor Lift. It's not a dispo tool yet. Could it be in the future? We'll have to wait and see. All right. So now that you know what you can cancel and what you can't cancel, let's dive in. Well, first, let's all give warm Astro, Sub 2, Owners Club, TTP, Top Tier TC, Gator, welcome to the one, the only, the most beautiful lady in real estate, Jenna Hoover. Come on up.
Man, if I'm ever on a bridge, you're who I'm calling, so I don't jump there. I mean, that's a heck of a welcome there. So awesome to hang out with you and all your friends here. I saw there was a comment earlier. Somebody wanted to know if your sauce was sweet or spicy, I think it was. I mean, how would you consider it? Would you say it's more?
It's sweet and spicy.
You'd say it was sweet and spicy?
Yeah, it's both. It's a little spicy. It's a little sweet. It's all the things, right? Just like me. You know how I'm a little sweet and sometimes I'm a little spicy, right? I'm always sweet when I'm with you, but sometimes people say dumb stuff and I get spicy, right? There's chili peppers in this honey. But Jenna, how you doing, girl? I miss you, man.
I haven't seen you in forever, it seems.
You used to text me like beautiful songs. See, Jenna's a runner, and she would go on these long marathon runs, and she'd find these incredibly inspiring songs, and she would send them to me. She'd say, I was running, and I was thinking, as this song played, it reminded me of you, and I wanted to brighten your day, and so she'd send me a song. Like, there's very few people in the world who just randomly care enough and send you uplifting, inspiring songs, and that's my friend Jenna. And then I don't know what happened. Did
I didn't want to be annoying.
What did I do that made you stop sending me songs?
Well, I'll send them to you again. I mean, be careful what you ask for because I just didn't want to be annoying. And I'm an early bird, so I know that I'm a couple hours
up way earlier than you do, Jenna.
Okay, all right, good. Then I'll send them to you.
Here's one thing I want to find out though. Do you make a playlist? Do you have a playlist?
Oh yeah.
Can you just share your playlist with me?
Yeah, I'll send you my running playlist. But I'm going to tell you, it has some bangers on there. Like you're going to get like a full-fledged like Christian rock all the way to some like ghetto, there's some F's in it. So I mean, it's all the way in between.
I like me some effing Christian rock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not the combo, but everything in between.
It's so great to have you, and we're gonna have a ton of fun, and we're gonna be doing this super often, guys, because we want all of you to we want all of you to transfer over to Deal Sauce. Again, I want you to understand, Deal Sauce is for us, by us, developed by real estate investors, yours truly, and Mr. Pace Morby, and we want your honest opinions. If there's things that we can fix, tell us about it. If there's things that you love, tell us about it. If you want to be one of our affiliates and spread the good news, tell us about it. We want you on the team. We want you to be there with our ride as we take this to become the most prolific software in all of real estate investing. So remember that. And I also want you guys to know this, that Deal Sauce is not only owned by Pace Morby and I, but the Owners Club, if you guys are familiar with our private Owners Club mastermind, they own it with us. The Owners Club. So like, it's not just me and Pace in this thing. There's like 450 real estate investors that own Deal Sauce with us. So like, this is the best way to support the community. This is the best way to help grow the community. And so that's why it's just so important for us that you guys adopt this and, leave all the others behind. But I've done enough damage to other business models and companies. Let's just get to work.
Let's get to it.
Let's share your screen, Jenna.
All right. I'm going to share it here. And I'll just kind of give you guys some of my feedback. And I don't know how, I mean, Jamil, how do you want to do this? You just want me to like share the amazingness, or
Yeah,
you want
share the amazingness. So
to,
I'm gonna give you some insights into what I found has been the most helpful tools in beginning in a beginner's journey, right? So most beginners, they do the following things. They're heavy in the acquisitions, and so they need access to good leads to call, and they need to be able to underwrite. So they need to be able to comp properties and find out how much to offer on a property. Now, I want to share with you guys a secret about why Deal Sauce is also super cool, because the comping in Deal Sauce was based off of whose brain? Do you know, Jenna?
it was you guys, wasn't it?
Right here. We inputted the appraisal rules into the Deal Sauce comp calculator. And so it's like it's the best of all the worlds. But yeah, if you could, Jenna, share your screen. Let's just dive into the sauce. You know what? I thought when you and I chatted, you promised that you every time that you were gonna pour sauce on your head during this live. Where's
No, that was probably Jeremy.
Oh.
So
who wants to see Jenna pour sauce on her head?
Yeah, maybe.
Here's what I will do. I'm gonna make a promise. We've got 130 people on the live right now. If you're not using Deal Sauce yet, put an X in the chat. Okay, put an X in the chat. If you're not using Deal Sauce, yes, put an X in the chat. I'm gonna give you guys a reason to use Deal Sauce. If you're not using it, put an X in the chat. Okay, look at all these X's. Okay, all these X's. I'm gonna give you guys a second to populate the X's. Man, you guys are making Yvette like steamy backstage. She loves X's, and she loves it when there's 3 of them in a row. But we have like 300 of them here. She's shaking her head right now, so mad at me. She's just like, this guy, all he does is make fun. So here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, if all of you move into the Deal Sauce platform, I will start the next live by covering my face in ketchup.
Who's cleaning you up? Is it your cat? We'll have your cat clean you up.
No, I wouldn't make my cat eat ketchup.
Oh.
I'll just use a towel. Yes, I will pour ketchup on my head. Who wants to see me pour ketchup on my head? I'm sure all of you want to see me pour ketchup on my head, right? Okay, so Jenna, will you also pour ketchup on your head if all of these people switch from their platform to we do it together?
My mascara will just not be on point then. So I don't know. I can't commit to it yet, but I'll think about it.
Come on, just say yes.
So he says, say no, Jenna. See?
All right. I will put ketchup on my head if all of you switch from PropStream to Deal Sauce. And just for giggles right now, I'm going to give you guys the URL on where to do that. It's just rundealsauce.com. Rundealsauce.com. Free trial, by the way, guys. 2 weeks for you to check out why it's saucier than all the other sauces out there. But Jenna, let's take it away. I talked so much. Oh my God.
No, I mean, they're here to see you talk, but as far before I even get into it, I just wanted to let everybody know, just as I explain this stuff, I'm coming at you guys as a fellow investor in the trenches right there with you. Because I've been in real estate for 12 years now. I do wholesaling, I do rehabbing, I do short-term, long-term rental properties, commercial. I'm also an agent in Pennsylvania. So I just wanted to set that standard just so you guys know when I'm talking to you all, I'm talking to you as one of you, just so that you understand that like when we think of the ways that we edit this, when we put our brains together, first off, you hit it like right on the head, Jamil, when you said, by investors for investors. But what we do when we're designing it, we're looking for bottlenecks. And we're looking for things that we basically say, you know what, these people could be so much more successful if we added this, if we tweaked that, if we changed this. And this is what we do. And we just basically collectively come together and say, let's create something that really is everything that you could need. And if I were to think back 12 years ago, and I'm sure Jamil could say the same thing for the amount of years you've been in real estate, if you would have had a tool like this, no, I'm saying I'm giving you experience cred right there.
Okay.
But if you were to think back, like if you had a tool like this in the beginning, just how much more successful you would be. Just getting people's phone numbers was difficult. Figuring out how to find these people was difficult. Figuring out how to comp things were difficult. And when I got into real estate, I didn't have a real estate background. I went to school for radiology. So I had a medical background and I got into this and I didn't even know what the word escrow meant. And so I'm getting, and so a lot of you guys, if you're new to real estate and obviously new to the software, the part of the software is that it's so all-inclusive and it's so user-friendly that it's not like you have to learn a whole new language by coming over to it. So when you log in here, this section here, like as soon as we log in, this is the heart of the system. The purpose of coming in here is to find motivated sellers. And anybody, whether you're full-time, part-time, brand new, seasoned, or whatever, we all can agree that having leads and marketing is really the lifeline of our business, because if we have no leads, we have no opportunities, and we're not buying a single property, and we can't really, in my opinion, consider ourselves a full-time or even a part-time kind of a real estate investor. It's literally we're at a halt. And any business that's out there, if you don't have marketing generating, if you don't have leads coming in, this is where we're going to struggle. And we've taken that to where we literally are a complete nationwide database providing you with all the different types of properties all across the country. Now, and Jamil, I don't know if maybe you were secretly watching some of my demos, but I always refer to things as recipes. And whenever you came up with this name, I was like, man, this is like so beautiful. How you called it deal sauce. I call them, when I build things out, I build them as recipes. But then the beautiful, even more beautiful thing was when I came in here, not only can we build our own recipes of what we're looking for, but then you've already pre-built different recipe combinations for all of your different team members, which takes so much of the guesswork out. So when somebody comes in here, they can literally search nationwide for any property across the country. You have access whatever state you're in. But then on top of that, you can literally click a button and select everything that you personally recommend them to search for. So it's literally like having you in their office hitting the buttons. So we'll come in here and we're just going to select our geographic location. So we can go as big as a state, we can go as big as a county, we can do a city-wide, zip code wide, or we can even be as micro guys of just putting in one individual address. So if you're driving around, you found a property, you heard of something, you got a referral, you're able to put just that one address in there and see how powerful the data is just on one address. So wherever you're located, so I'm just going to, Jacksonville is one of my favorite markets, and I'm in Pennsylvania. I also do some wholesaling in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, but I'm going to this Jacksonville area coming up here. So whatever your geographic area is, and you're going to see you have all these different types of leads. These are our lead types. Now, guys, the purpose of coming in here is to figure out, what does a motivated seller look like? Yep. What are their characteristics? Like, what are the things, if I were to be a motivated seller, what would be some things that I would have going on in my life? Or how could we kind of sift through them? And go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking about what would be some things that could be going on in a motivated seller's life, right? So let's start with the least terrible. Your kids have all gone off to college, and it's just you and your spouse, and you have a 5-bedroom home, and you're only living in one of the rooms, and the rest of the rooms are like museums to your departed children who have gone to college or gone and grown up and live in their own worlds now. And so you're a super empty nester. That would be one life circumstance that I think could really motivate somebody to move.
Yeah. So empty nester, did anybody put anything in the chat? What are some of the things that people would think would give us some motivated sellers?
A divorce.
Divorce. That could be it. Some of their financial.
How about bankruptcy?
That could be one.
That's sad.
Yeah.
How about you've just your the HOA in your neighborhood is just an oppressor, and you got massive HOA liens.
That could be one for sure.
Um, what if you got a new job and you had to move to a new town, like you relocated?
Yep. And then, so you're going to see we have all these different types of lead types on here. So these are going to be our different combinations that we're essentially going to build out together, creating these recipes to be able to help us find a motivated seller. Now, depending on who you guys are as an investor, like some of you may be full-time, some of you may be part-time, some of you may be maybe full-time in something else, wanting to get full-time in real estate. So whatever your situation is, and also whatever types of properties that you feel are your niche. Like some people, they're going to go after, let's say, a pre-foreclosure scenario. They like targeting people in tax delinquencies. Somebody over here may say, look, I like going after people that own their properties free and clear because they have 100% equity. Or somebody likes to target only active listings. Like it's like limitless opportunities of what you can search for. But then we can even go further as far as being more granular and look at the ways that you like to purchase properties. Some of you may really like to do some cool creative financing stuff, let's say like subject to opportunities. Every one of these recipes that we're going to build, that we can talk about some different combinations, I'm going to build them all based on what I feel is who I am as far as the time I have. I'm going to look at it based on who I like to target and also the ways that I like to structure my deals. Because let's say that I like to do subject tos only. There's going to be a different person that I'm going to target versus somebody who's maybe looking to do maybe wholesales, or somebody who's looking for passive income, or somebody who's more of a hardcore rehabber. So whoever they are, we're going to build out these different scenarios. And again, it's not like you have to remember thousands of them because you're just going to test and track it, and things change. You're going to understand how real estate ebbs and flows. Like, for example, there's times where I may pull a different list this time of year than maybe I would in the summertime. And not like, again, just because we just had Christmas, we just had expensive holidays, things like right now is a perfect time. People haven't gotten their income check back yet. So people are struggling financially. So I may focus, and again, I don't say that to be so morbid because I don't want it to come across as morbid, but because I feel like we're helping these people. But this time of year, I'm going to target something like that. So I'm going to just start out. I'm going to show you one of my absolute favorite lists. We're going to target some of Jamil's lists. We're going to talk about Justin's list. You guys have all of these saved different types of lists. And we're just going to show you ways that you can start finding these people. Where this system is different, guys, is the way that you have the ability to sift through. Like if we have this huge, massive list in Jacksonville, Florida, like right now we're in Jacksonville. We have 309,000 different properties in this area. That's overkill. It's going to be the bulk of these people don't want to sell. Now, you can waste a lot of time and money if you want to and market to all these people, but obviously we want to sift through it. We want to identify the different types of criteria of what we're looking for. Now, and we'll talk about the AI is one of the sexiest tools in the whole software. And I'm going to tell you guys about that whenever Jamil's ready to tell you guys about that. But if I were to pull one kind of list, if you said you can pull one list and that's it, how would you build it out? First off, it's going to be based on your market. Because if you're in some little tiny town, you may not be able to get as granular as I'm going to show you. But again, it's based on how big of a list you can target based on, are you working part-time, full-time? Do you have a team? Do you not? So we'll kind of play around with it. And we're always being flexible with it. So if I come in here, I'm going to start out by focusing on absentee owners. I love anything flavored with absentee owner. And this is basically somebody who owns a property that they are not personally living in. It could be a rental, it could be vacant. And you can hover over these little question marks. It will tell you who they are, why should we target them. You also have your glossary over here that's going to define all those different terms again. You have all of our frequently asked questions. So a lot of times you're going to be sitting there thinking, how often is this data updated? What does this stand for? What does this mean? How do I do this? This is going to answer a lot of your questions. So anything that most of the questions you're going to have. And as far as how often is our data updated, some of it's updated every 5 minutes. So, I mean, that's just to kind of give you an idea. Like, this isn't stuff that's old data. This is literally like where we're pulling in very up-to-date data, and combined with the MLS, they got married and had a baby, and this is the sauce. Like, this is literally what it is. We are pulling in live nationwide MLS data. So those of you who are in these non-disclosure states that always want to complain about not having sold values, if that property has been sold on the MLS or any time within the last 5 years, we're showing you sold numbers. Like, this is unheard of anywhere else, and any other, to my knowledge, any other, I mean, maybe some other softwares. I don't know. I don't pay attention to the other ones, but I've never been able to find that before. So pulling comps was always so difficult in other areas, but pulling in live MLS data is super cool. But back to my list here. So now we have our absentee owner, somebody who has a property that they're not personally living in. I love this one because they're usually less emotionally connected, and it's usually a quicker sale. They don't have to sell their house or find another house before they can sell you this one. So It's usually, a motivated type of seller.
Let's see, like, if we're doing cash deals, I love it when they have a ton of equity.
Yeah, so you can combine it with, again, you guys can combine it with anything. Like, you can say, I want them to have high equity in it, or I want them to own it free and clear, or however you want to do it. So when you start clicking more of these, it's just making it like a super list. It's basically saying, I want it to be this and this. You can slide this little slider over, and it basically says, I want it to be one or the other or both. But sometimes if you have this slid over and you get to click happy, sometimes your list gets really small, but that's fine if that's exactly who you're targeting.
And why would a smaller list be better, Jenna? Because if it's smaller, my opinion would be it's more targeted, more curated, more concentrated, and that means it's probably more effective. Wouldn't you rather only have to call like 10 people instead of 100? Or wouldn't you rather call 100 people instead of 1,000?
I mean, and that's what I always say. It's quality over quantity, because if you have very highly qualified leads that you're targeting, that that matches exactly what you're looking for, I mean, it's a different story. It's like you're wasting so much less time. You're going exactly for what you're after. And so if you go into this filter section, we can even get more granular. So we can even say, you know what, not only do I want them not living in the property, but I want them in another state. Just giving them a different flavor of motivation. Because if you can imagine, if you're a landlord in another state and you have a property, and let's say, and another thing that I combine it with is delinquent tax activity. I want them to be something painful going on right now. I want it to be that. And then on top of it, this is all, like this last one, this is all based on your area. But if I can throw on vacant at the same time, I'm not saying when you call them, they're going to thank you, but when you call them, it's a different group of people. Absolutely. Because if you think about it, we have somebody who lives in a property. In fact, they don't even live in the same state as the property. And on top of that, nobody's living in that property. So it's nothing but a financial burden, so much so that they can't even pay the taxes. Now you have a list, you went from 309,000 different people down to 219 people on this list here. And we can see, when we look at them, we're going to talk about AI coming up. But AI is basically, again, like I said, one of the coolest tools that we have in our system. But we can take this entire list of people, we can select them, 219. And then what we can do is we can go right in here and we can skip trace them. So it would cost us a little under $22 to be able to skip trace all these different people and reach out to them. And this is by far one of my favorite lists if I'm targeting this type of a person. However, if I'm looking for, and I was looking at some of your lists, Jamil, like these lists were, like when I was looking at them, I'm like, you guys are so highly targeted with how you guys built this out, because some of these are exactly what I would do if I was somebody, if I didn't know you, and if I'm building this out, like these lists are so exactly what I target. Like when we look at some of like Pace's, his perfect sauce here, like this is where if we're targeting properties that could be potentially an opportunity for a subject to opportunity. And let me come in here and reset my filters here. So if we were to come in here and we basically say, you know what, I want people who would be potentially in a good subject to opportunity. Now, if you're somebody and you're like, I don't know what subject to is, first off, you need to get with these guys and learn it. It's essentially a creative way of taking ownership of a property while keeping the current person's mortgage in place. Now, sometimes we think like, who the heck would do that? Like who would say, yeah, come in here, take my property, and take over that mortgage. Sure, it's all yours. But if you can imagine, what if you're somebody who's sitting there and you have a property that's worth $300,000 house, but let's say you owe 290 on it.
Right.
Let's say that something happens where the main income generator of that household passes away, or they lose their job and they get behind on payments. And what if they're really behind to the point where they only have maybe a month or two before the bank takes their property away, or they're in this tough situation and they're like, look, I could sell it. I don't have the time. I don't have the equity. I don't have the money to fix things. If people will come in here and say, oh, you have lead-based paints or you have any of these issues. So you have there's a ton of people. Yeah. Would we love to take over somebody's mortgage payment that has a lot of equity? Heck yeah. I mean, could we search for it? Yeah. I mean, we don't have to just always search one type of list, but we can come in there. And if we know that the bulk of our people will probably be people in some kind of a tough situation, but usually when we look at them, they don't have a lot of equity in their property. So if you click right here at Pace's Perfect Sauce here, like you're going to see like what he's focusing on. He's talking about the AI score. He's focusing on loan to value. So basically properties that have a lower equity in them. So there's different ways, guys, that you can build this out. Now you may say like, look, 108,000. I mean, you can go to just a zip code. You don't have to do the whole city. If you say, look, I only want, just this area here, this is just like the one market that I am interested in. So you can come in here and you can do all that. And you can even come in here and you can look for things like, look, I'm only interested in 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or, maybe you want to look for people that have an interest rate of 4.5% or less. Like if we're taking over their mortgage, let's look at what we're essentially buying. But you guys have total control of how you want to build this out. But again, you can spend tons of time building out your own list, or you can literally come in here. And Jamil, I was taking a peek at yours on here.
Yeah.
AI, it seems like you like AI a good bit.
Well, here's the thing, right? I'm a wholesaler through and through, and this isn't shade to wholesalers because I just said I am one, but we love efficiency, or you can also say we can get a little lazy sometimes, right? I like to call it efficiency. I love efficiency. I don't want to do extra work. I don't want to do too much work. I'm not scared of work, but I don't want to waste my time. That's like my biggest pet peeve. So what I love AI for in what we're doing here is that we know that there are specific indicators that happen in somebody's life that will point to them having an event where they sell a house in the next 90 days. Okay. Now, Jenna, you and I have talked about this in the past. A lot of these little things that happen in someone's life, we can't even disclose, or they won't even disclose to us what those events are. It could be like, maybe you've gone to the hospital, or maybe you canceled a magazine subscription, or, maybe you're, I don't know, going to the movies like twice a month. Who knows? All we know is that the information is invasive, right? But when we take that invasive information and we stack it onto other indicators that somebody could potentially want to sell their home in the next 90 days, well, that all of a sudden becomes interesting, because now through data, I can have a highly predictable list. And that means that if my list now is like, there's a 10% chance that the people on my list would sell their house in the next 90 days. Well, if I have a list of 100 people, that means that 10 of them are likely going to sell in the next 90 days. I don't know about you guys, but I would way rather call 100 people than 10,000 people, because that just means that I'm using my time more efficiently. So I love the AI because I just think time is very valuable. There are two currencies as human beings that we have that are the most valuable, I believe, assets in the entire universe. And the first one is our time here on this planet and our attention, right? That's why they say that's why like the term is spending time. You spend time, you pay attention, right? And so I don't want to use my currency on wasted effort. I want to use my currency as efficiently as possible. So I want to spend my time doing more targeted activities, and I want to pay attention to the people that need my help the most. And if I'm calling random people that don't want to hear from me, and if I have to talk to 900 of those folks, well, I just spent my attention, my precious time, and my precious currency on people I can't help. But if I'm targeting that list in a much more efficient way, well, now I can spend my time actually doing an activity that's going to have fruit. And I can give my attention to helping those people solve their problems in a much better way. So that's why I love it.
Yeah. So do you want me to kind of explain how it works a little bit and then I'll show it?
Absolutely.
Okay. So first off, man, you really sell the heck out of that better than I think some computer geniuses out there, how you explain that. So
it's just, it's real. It's real. You know, I spend a lot of time, you know, meditating and thinking about things. And I think that no matter what, no matter how much money I've made in my life, it can't buy back my time.
Exactly.
And no matter how accomplished I become in life, it's not giving me back my attention. So, you know, that's all I got, and it's non-refundable.
So just to kind of explain to you guys a little bit about AI. I know AI is like, there's such a buzz term. Like everybody's talking about machine learning technology, this and AI, that, and chat GPT and all these different things. I mean, like the world has exploded with AI. It's a data world that we're in. I'm going to explain to you how we use it. It's going to sound pretty invasive and pretty creepy. It totally is. But I mean, our phones, when we scroll on our phones, they know how long we look at a picture. They know everything we click on. You say something next to your phone tomorrow, Facebook's going to have an ad for it. They say that they're not listening, but I mean, we're in this data world. And so as a company, what we have done, because what we want to try to figure out is how can we predict people selling a property is what it comes down to. Because I can give you a list of thousands of people that own their properties free and clear. But just because they have no mortgage, that doesn't mean that that person wants to sell. Or just because this person has low equity and this could be a good subject to opportunity, but what makes that person want to sell, but not that person? Just again, because we're looking at the things that would be ideal, a low equity or high equity or an active listing or something like that. Again, how we're going to buy them. But we're looking at all these different things. And as a company, we're trying to figure out why. So what we have done is we've purchased 40 years worth of real estate sales data. So you can imagine every house in the entire country that has ever sold, every property that's ever sold since the 1980s until now, we have all that data. And we're talking super invasive information because essentially we're a detective. Yeah. And we're at a crime scene and we're trying to figure out the why. Like we know that they sold, but we don't know the why. And when we can decipher and figure out their why, then it only makes, if we can understand the behaviors and patterns of people of the past, then it only makes sense that we can take that information and predict the behaviors and patterns of people in the future, which is what we're doing with AI. So
we're turning ourselves into what Facebook is doing to us. Like, guys, just think about it for a second, okay? We have all had this experience where you're like, oh, I'm talking to my friend about this specific place I want to visit. And then, I don't know, 10 minutes later, you're scrolling and all of a sudden there's an ad about it. And you're like, hold on a second. How the hell did they know? Are they listening to me? Well, yes and no. They're not actively listening in on your, like they don't have a mic. They do have a microphone into your world, but they're not allowed to legally listen to that. But the things you search, the things that you look at, the pattern in which you do it, it's predictive. It's predictive. And it's the predictions that let Facebook know that it's time for you to see an ad about this thing. And it's so good that it will know that you're going to talk about this thing within the next couple of days. So we might as well start sending you ads on it. That's essentially what we're talking about here, guys. So much data has been compiled that it's become so predictive that it knows this dude over here, him and his wife are about to get into a fight this month and they're going to sell this house. It's crazy.
Simple as that. Yeah. I mean, it's looking at invasive things, guys. Like before they sold, was there a death did the main income generator pass away? Was there a divorce? Were there student loans coming in default? Was there power being shut off? Or like, we're looking at circumstances, just exactly like you said earlier, Jamil. Like, is it a 5-bedroom house and we just see that the kids graduated and moved away to college? Now they have that empty nester syndrome. Is it that, what magazines are they subscribing to? And we're looking at the property too. It's like, how old was the property? Did it need work? Did it have a screened in porch? Like, things like if the house is over 80 years old with a screened in porch with this and that, like, we have different ways that we take that data. We take all of those billions of data points, we put it into our genetic algorithm that we had custom created for us by somebody who used to work at NASA. And then we take all the data of the current people today and we scrub it, and we basically are looking for trends. We're looking for correlations, similarities, because it only makes sense that if we see that somebody today has the same symptoms, the same look and feel, the same characteristics that somebody else had in the past, that person ended up selling, it only makes sense that we can predict that person's going to sell. And so we score all the properties on a scale of 0 to 1,000, 1,000 being the best, on how likely in the next 90-day window are we predicting that this person is going to sell their property. And not just sell it, but in one of 3 different ways. How likely will that property sell more towards a retail price point? So those of you who are more of a sub 2 kind of person, maybe you want to target a little bit over here because you want somebody that most likely had, if we combine it with things like low equity or upside down, these lists are so hot. Versus if you take the Jamil's approach, where if he wants properties at a below market value, discounted, there's something going on financially in that person's life, kind of a price, then he's going to target the wholesale number, which is where we score the properties at a below market value. And this one's financially motivated. Now, if you're somewhere in between, maybe you're looking at passive income, you're a landlord buyer, you're selling turnkey opportunities, there's a rental number. And this is usually indicated by the property is currently a rental or in a market where there's a lot of rental opportunity. So you have so much room to be able to say, first off, show me all the people that match what I like. But then on top of that, show me which ones are going to sell. Like, let's not waste our time here. And that's literally like, it's where you can say that with a button. It's like a magic sifter that you can say, okay, I have all these places, but I only want the ones that really are going to sell. And we are so accurate. Like, when we look at our lists, like we do our own look back analysis, guys, because it's one thing to say how cool it is, but every quarter we pull our own data nationwide and we wait 90 days and we look at what we predicted versus what actually sold. And when we come in here, I'm going to show you some of those numbers and give you some of our stats, because you may say a list of like 100 people, well, that's not that many for me to market to. But what if 17 or 18 of them will sell in the next 90 days? Could you handle 18 wholesales in the next 90 days? Some of you could, but and I don't say it to intimidate you, but that's the caliber of leads that you're going to be getting here. Like, people where I've called people and they're like, you know what, I've had this property and we were just having pizza the other night and we just said, you know what, we need to do something with this rental. And then sure enough, your postcard came. And I'm like, I wish I would have recorded you, because it's just, so perfect of a testimonial here. So I'm going to show you guys. And Jamil, do you have anything you want to add there while I start sharing?
Yeah, there's so my ex-wife is using Deal Sauce, right? And she's been on it now for, I don't know, 3 months. And she just actually yesterday closed on and recorded on a deal that she got using the AI functionality from Deal Sauce that sent her to a property. And it turned out that the wholesale AI was bang on. It was a deal that she got in Tempe, Arizona. ARV on this house is $650, Jenna. What do you think she was able to pick the property up for?
She wholesaling it, you said?
This specific one, she wholesaled, but what do you think she picked up the house for?
Did it need work though, first?
100%.
Like a lot of work?
It was like a full cosmetic rehab.
Okay, so 400.
She picked it up for 270.
Get out of here.
And she wholesaled it and made $99,000.
Holy heck.
On one deal.
Man, that's a good deal.
It was silly. Silly. I just wish this was around when I was getting started. It was
That's what I said. I mean, imagine how, I mean, I see how far and successful you are today, but imagine even if you would have had something like this years ago when you got started, how much even further you probably, I mean, you probably would be president, I would think, by this point.
I mean, I hope so, right? I would have still had the dance though.
Yeah. I mean, that's just saying where you're headed in 10 years. I mean, I'd vote for you.
Yay.
Yeah. So, guys, so when we come in here, I'm going to show you a little bit about the AI. When you come into your accounts,
Well, why don't you just be first lady? I'm just kidding. Okay, go ahead. That was silly, guys. That was silly. That was silly.
You're funny. So you guys come first up, you tell me to put ketchup on me. I mean, like that, how's that gonna win over my heart?
But look at how red you just got. It's like you just put ketchup on you.
Yeah, I know, I'm sure. But when you come in here, guys, you're gonna put in your geographic location, and you have nationwide access to all the leads. But when it comes to the AI, you're gonna have access to the AI in specific territories based on the level that you want to add it in your account. You'll have a credit to add a zip code of your choosing. And what my recommendation is, come in here, test it, play with it, get comfortable with it. And I know some of you are going to say, you know what, I invest in more areas, which we get it. So if you want to add more territories, you can just come down here. You'll see there's a little red button here, and you can add as many territories. You can do a whole county. You can add your whole state. You can add the whole country and turn the AI on in the whole area. So that's totally up to you guys on how much you really utilize it. But I would say just come in here and start playing around and get comfortable with it. So
what I would do though, for economics, just sorry to interrupt, but I would look at, where is the highest concentration of cash sales in your area, right? In that specific market. And I would use the AI in those specific zips. I think you can generate it, because I say that because that's exactly what Nat's been doing. So she's got like 4 zip codes that she uses the AI for. So it's like barely costs her anything, but that's all she needs, because the list that she's generating from just those 4 AI zip codes is plenty. She doesn't have to call for longer than like 45 minutes a day. And she's averaging about 2 to 3 deals a month right now. Silly.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you guys can see here, there's the 3 different numbers that we talked about: retail, rental, and wholesale. The retail is pretty obvious. How likely is it going to sell more towards MLS list price kind of a number? And this is great. First off, if any of you are real estate agents, you're looking to pick up more listings, target these people. If you're looking to do some creative deals, target this type of a number. If you're more of a landlord buyer, or maybe you wholesale more landlord turnkey kind of options, let's target more of the rental number. But a lot of you guys who follow Jamil, you're going to target this purple wholesale number, which is how likely in the next 90 days, on a scale of 0 to 1,000, 1,000 being the best, how likely do we predict this property selling again in that 90-day time frame? And this one is financially motivated. This one is, there's something going on. Now, the information that we own as a company, legally, we can't tell you the reason why. Like, hey, somebody just died and they inherited it and this and that. I mean, some of it's obvious. Some of it you'll be able to see. Some of it you'll be able to see in the different types of little bubbles on here. And some of it we'll be able to see based on the mortgage information. If they're behind on payments, like, we'll be able to see a lot of it, but a lot of it we can't see. And that's the really powerful part, is because you'll pull a list of people that own their property free and clear, that bought it in cash, and they have a 950 score on a scale of 1,000 for needing to sell their property at a below market value discount price. Now, ordinarily, if we would say, or pulling a list of people that own their property free and clear, for them to sell it at a discount, there's no way that we would have known about that person had it not been for that high AI score. So not only is it going to match you with people that some of them will look obvious, but some of them won't. Some of them will have not really anything going on. They own their property free and clear and they bought it in cash. But for some reason, maybe their main income generator passed away. They lost a job. There's something that's going on that we're picking up on. So when you come in here, you're going to see that we have 309,000 different property leads here. If we go into the filter section all the way at the top, this is our AI. This is our sellability section here. So again, you can come in here, and I think I just have it based on one zip code. Let me see here. So let me see if I have. And again, if you just have, when you come in here, you may, only have, have it by zip code. Let me see if I can remember that zip code. All right, here we go. So let me see if I can play around with it here. Let's see. Let me see. Okay. I don't know why it's not giving me the ability to click on here. So I can. So normally, whereas what you can do is you can come in here and you can specify exactly, what number you're looking for.
Yeah, maybe refresh. It could just be a little bit, it could have just got sticky there.
I don't know. I was just using it last night too. So I don't know what the heck.
I was using it earlier today. So
you broke it.
Working.
So yeah. So
Did you break the button?
No, I can see the numbers. It's just not letting me filter by it, which is odd. So let me just come in here. I'll look at it here, but again, I can paint the picture again, because you can, just to kind of explain it to you guys. But when you come in here, you'll be able to filter by those specific numbers. So if you come in and you basically say, show me all the people that own their property that have a score of 500 or higher, or 600 or higher, or 700, you can go as high as you want. But if we pull a list, guys, of properties that have a score, let's say of 900 and higher,
that's great.
We're successful at predicting the likelihood of those people selling their property. And as far, if we have a list, let's say of 100 people, we are accurate 17.1% of the time, which means about 17 or 18 of those people, most likely in the next 90 days, are going to sell their properties. Now, it could be more, it could be less, but our nationwide average is 17.1.
I just want to highlight that one more time, guys. Okay, so what she's saying is you could pull a list of 100 people if you use the AI tools. You could pull a list of 100 people, which at 10 cents a skip would cost you how much, Jenna?
How many people did you say?
100.
So to skip trace them, it'd be $10.
All right. So for $10, approximately 17 of those folks would be ready to sell their house.
That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of freaking people.
Whether they sell to us, fingers crossed. And that's why a lot of it is
right. It could be through an agent. It could be a number of things, but the likelihood of a sale event is going to be 17%. That's just absolutely ridiculous.
When the AI first came out, I was like, what is this witchcraft stuff that we're talking about? I was like, this is a little, I didn't understand it. And so I was part of just some beta testing with it. And in my tiny little area, I targeted people that that were an absentee owner that had a wholesale score of 600 and higher. And I had 59 people come up on my list. Now, again, this is where it's so important. It's quality over quantity, because most of the time somebody would say 59 people, that's not even worth reaching out. Well, I did a very simple postcard campaign. I spent $80 couple dollars. It was $82 or $87. I don't remember how much I spent, but it was under 90. And again, I was part of beta testing, so I had to keep accurate results. And I'm not saying that these results will be everybody, but these were my exact first time I ever did a campaign results. And within the first postcard going out, I had 13 people that reached out to me out of the 59. Now, seven of them were only worth me going and seeing. There was a handful of them that weren't they couldn't come to a conclusion on the phone there. But about 7 of them were worth my time. One of them I was able to refer to another agent, because I'm an agent, so I can do referrals. And another one I bought it in a very creative way called Subject To, which again, you have to listen to the things that the person tells you. They tried selling it and they couldn't. It was on a main road and it wasn't a super desirable location. It was a 2-bedroom in an area where people want 3s. It needed updated, but it was move-in ready. And she was tired of being a landlord when her husband worked out of state. And she had said some things about, she had some kind of an owner finance deal with somebody before. So I'm like, this lady's open. And I asked her how much she owed on her house. It was worth about 50 couple, and she owed about 30 couple. And I said, look, if you just want to be done with this right now, just let me take over the mortgage payments. I'll take over it right away and you could be done with it and you don't have to worry about it. She's like, all right. And so we worked it all up. I paid, it was $314 and some change every single month. And the property that rents out at $750 every single month. So we are able to cash flow over $400 every single month on a campaign that I spent couple dollars on just to see if it worked. And we just did a cash out on it last year and pulled out over 20K of equity in that property. So if somebody asks, do you think it works? Yeah. Sometimes it's so fascinating to me because we're always working on renovations. We have rentals. We have a lot of stuff going on in the market, and I'll send out a campaign. And there's times where I don't scrub through to see who's on the list. And so I may be a cash buyer on the list, or I may be somebody who is an absentee owner on my own list. And so I don't scrub to see if I'm on it, not all the time. And there'll be times where I'll have multiple rehabs going, tons of rental properties. And it just so happens that I'll happen to have sent myself a postcard for the property that we are just finishing getting ready to put on the market. It's like, how did it know all the other ones weren't really worth targeting, but it was that property, and then it would target it. So again, it's super powerful, but I have it working here again. I don't know it just needed a switch, a little kick there. But when you come in here, if I click on, let's say your list here, where I love your list here because your list is solely off market deals. Like, you're excluding active listings. So if you guys come in here, you'll see here where you have Jamil's jackpot sauce. And so when you click on that, you're going to see what he recommends in his recipe. Like, this is a cookbook, and this is what Jamil says he likes to cook. So this is where he's targeting solely off market opportunities, unlisted, unadvertised, off market kind of deals. Now, this is where you guys will excel, is that, especially if you're in those competitive markets where there's so much investor competition, there's so many investors that are out there. If you're able to find the different types of lists and target the people that not a lot of people are looking at, that's where you guys are going to really be powerful. And so we're targeting all off market. So we're excluding active listings. We're looking for single family. We want properties. So what do you have on here? Maybe this is just probably I don't know if this.
Yeah, that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that must have been from when I was playing on it before.
Yeah, so I want single family. I want a wholesale score of minimum wholesale score of 500.
Yeah, so this is what we have here. So
yeah,
so a minimum of 500 different people. So if we see what happens, this is 158,000 different people. Now, if you come in here, you're going to see that we could potentially change that number. So if we say, you know what, give me all the people that have a score of, let's say, 600 and higher. So of course, you can see it's going to make our list smaller and smaller. It all depends on your area. Like, you may say, look, I have to stop at 600, which is still fantastic because it's giving you a list of people that have the highest motivation in that area of selling their properties. Now, you might be able to go, let's say, properties that have a score of 800 or 900. Like, let's just look at 900 and above here. Let's see how many people we get here. 6,722. Like, I'm not a math scholar, so if somebody could take the 17.1% of 6,709 or 722, that's how many people on this list right here, most likely in the Jacksonville, Florida area, that have the highest likelihood. And then you could sift it based on that number. Like, you can say, you know what? Show me all the people that have the highest score first, and let's take a peek at them. These people have a score of 1,000. I mean, these scores.
That means that the likelihood of that house selling in the next 90 days is, it's pretty damn high.
Yeah. And again, like, when we look at it, like, yeah, it looks like it's a rental property that maybe they own free and clear, but really, ordinarily, like, there's nothing that jumps out at us when we just look at this person. They're not behind on payments. It doesn't look like they're behind on taxes. It doesn't look like there's a divorce going on. So really, if we did not have the AI, we may have completely overlooked this person. And again, we can go higher with our number. We can go to 650. But if you say, like, look, I can only talk to about 100 people a day, that's fine. Come in here and just select 100 people and just start out there, because obviously we have the highest ones first. So we're going to talk to 100 of the most qualified people, but you guys can take the AI and focus on it solely by itself. You can take the lead types and focus solely on those, or you can create these hybrid super lists where you can take people that have some sort of motivating factor, something going on, and combine it with the AI to create these hot super lists. Like, Jamil can come in here and he can basically say, you know what, I only want to see the people that have vacant houses on top of that. So if you have a vacant property with a high AI score, these are all off-market deals. We brought it down to 835. Or if you say, you know what, I want people that have owned this property, for at least 25 years or more. or I want somebody who is upside down, or I want somebody who owns it with no mortgage on it. I want them to be free and clear, but I want something still going on in their life financially that makes them a higher indicator of maybe being a seller. And any ways that you guys combine these different types of lists, make it more focused, more niche down. And really, this is where you're going to call these people. And again, like it's a different conversation when you talk to these people. I mean, we've done live cold calling before. I mean,
who wants to see that? Who would like to see Jenna and I tag teaming? And Jenna, will you make some calls with me?
Heck yeah. I'm so glad you asked.
Jenna and I make some calls on our next Deal Sauce Live so that we can actually put up or shut up over here. We can show you exactly why these lists are so powerful and good. I'm down to do it.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I'm not saying that they're going to just like thank you and when you call them, but a lot of these people,
but they're going to be good calls, and we're going to, the people will be able to hear that there's actual motivation on the phone.
And I mean, and when we talk to them, there'll be people that say, no, I don't want to sell their house. But just because they don't want to doesn't mean they're not going to have to in a month. Right. I mean, that's where you guys will kill it, is your follow-up, is being consistent with it, because it may be no for now, but it's not no forever. It's not no for next month or 3 months. I bought houses 7 years after initially talking to people, and I've got them for a sliver of what they were listed for, is because time is just everything when it comes to something like that. Like, they weren't motivated before, but they were super motivated whenever the bank was taking it over and they found out they had additional liens on it. And a lot of crazy things that we were able to help get them out of that scenario. So guys, that's just, and everything we've talked about today, this is all just residential. Like we've only like just really, barely scratched the service. Like there is like literally an entire side of the system that's commercial. Like we have, and I mean, for those of you who are like, look, I do, I love self-storage facilities, mobile home parks, apartment complexes. Like you may say like, look, I want to have a rental portfolio, but I want it all under one roof. And so give me places that have 50 units or higher, or show me all the people, like show me all the, landlords in the area that, have all these different properties and, that are in delinquent tax situations, or show me which one. I mean, you can literally do all of this. I mean, you want to buy golf courses, you want to buy movie theaters, you want to buy a vet clinic, a morgue. I bought a morgue before. I was part of a morgue before. Did you ever know that?
I didn't know. I had no idea you bought a morgue. What did you guys do in it?
Well, that was in my past life when I was married. So that was whenever he created it and made it into like a bed and breakfast, and then it was like a wedding venue place. So it was really cool.
A bed and breakfast?
A dead and breakfast. That would be really cool to say that. Called a dead and
breakfast. I did once buy a crematorium.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Yeah. We turned it into a pizza restaurant.
Oh, yeah. I mean, same thing with the ovens, I guess.
I mean, it came with the ovens.
Was it really the same oven?
I'm making all that up.
Oh my gosh, I was going to puke. We actually were going to buy another funeral home one time before. It was the creepiest thing. It was almost like they just left one day. Like their books were still open on their desks. Like you go downstairs, you could pick your outfit out. I mean, they still had like the tubes connected to the table. It was gross.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was like legit. Looks like they literally left. Like chairs were still facing like the way in the parlors. I mean, it was the oddest thing. And then they lived on the upper floors, and like tables were still set. It was like, I paid my daughter, she was younger at the time. I paid her $50 if she wanted to walk through it, which was perfect around October. We went there instead of a haunted house. So we just, it was super cool. But you guys, you have, you could look for that kind of stuff if you're looking for those.
Well, I definitely want to do a commercial specific live with you, because here's the reality. The average assignment fee on an RV park. You know what the average assignment fee on an RV park is, Jenna?
I don't.
100,000.
Really?
So if right now, if 100 grand would change your life, put 100 in the chat. Let me see how many of y'all would feel like different tomorrow morning if you had an extra $100,000 in the bank. I mean, I've got all kinds of money, and 100 grand would still make me feel all warm and fuzzy. Yeah, 100 grand is it can change your life. It can do a lot. And RV parks, oddly enough, are very easy to get under contract. It's usually ma and pa owners of these things. They're a lot of the times, if you catch them at the right time, right season, they are frustrated and ready to go. And they are in a period of time right now where the transition, the handoff between RV park owners of the past and the new investor class are starting to happen now. A lot of these guys are baby boomers that are ready for retirement, and they're just they want out, and they're open to conversations. You get one of these things under contract. I got a couple of buddies right now who are like clamoring for these RV parks. That's where these guys are doubling down all their investments. And so there's a opportunity to make a quick 100K on those deals. But in addition to that, the small multifamily for co-living, like the fourplexes, the duplexes, the triplexes on co-living deals, phenomenal. I mean, you can make like 40, 50% cash on cash returns on those deals. So all that stuff is really, really useful. So we'll do a co-living specific live. Jenna and I will do one of those together, so you guys can kind of get a good buy box for co-living if you guys are looking into getting in that. But there's some questions in the chat, Jenna. I figured while we're at the end of our stream here, let's if we could answer some of them, that'd be helpful. So if Tony, when you're first starting, you get one zip code to start, but if you want to add, it's additional $10 per zip code. So you can add a zip. I don't recommend adding a bunch of zips that you're not going to market in. Jenna, do we have a way to help people see where the most cash transactions are in a specific area in their county?
Yeah, I mean, as far as let me show you here, because I know that there's going to be some, like you'll see here with some of the other recipes that you guys have that you kind of have built out. Let me go back in here. So if we come in here, you're going to see, where was it at here? This, is it not this one? There was one of them that gives you an idea of the sales in the area. Let's see here. Highlights hot markets and recent buyer demand. This sauced and sold. So if you want to be able to come in here and see all the recently sold properties that you can see here where it's perfect for tracking those hot market. But you can go into any geographic area in your system here, and you can go into, cash buyers. You'll see here cash buyers. Again, like there's not a way to say like, show me which one is higher. I mean, you can basically, if you mark it in a couple of different zip codes, put in that zip code, hit cash buyers, and you can
see the list size.
Yeah. So you could, like, if I say like, show me all the let me reset this here since we were playing around with all your scores. But if we say, you know what, show me, I'm in Jacksonville. Hold on. I'm too click happy here. So if I say, show me all the cash buyers in my area that are the properties were, it was a business that bought it, because I don't care about the husband and wife that bought a property for cash. I only care about the ones that are most likely a business. And then if I come down here and again, 23,000, I don't care about the person that bought a house back in 2016. I want the ones that are recent. So let's look at the last 3 months, so we can come in here, or if you want to do like the last year, if you say like, all right, show me the last year. And, we have 1,500 different people. So you can narrow it down smaller, but if you invest in a couple areas, put in those areas and see which ones have the most cash sales. If that, that could be a way that you can kind of break it down.
Yep. That's exactly what I would do. And that would be the zip code that I would buy the AI for. And then I would move down accordingly. So that just gives you an opportunity to be really cost effective here. So you're not overspending, because there's some people that would want to buy for an entire county. Bryant asked in the chat, can I buy AI for an entire county?
Yeah, you definitely can. And plus you can always switch out your zip code too. So if you're not locked into that one forever. So if you say, you know what, I'm investing over here, you can always change it. You can change it as often as every month. And we limit it monthly just because, of course, you have those people that just ruin it for everybody. So, and they abused it. So we had to put a time limit on it. But if you wanted to upgrade more areas, you can come in here. Again, you can get a couple. But basically, most people are going to get a county, and you can switch that county out every month if you wanted, or if you wanted to pick a state, or if you wanted to come in here and get the whole country, it's totally up to you guys. But I'd say at first, you can always just use what you have. You do get one credit and really utilize it and see what your results are and see if you're getting a different experience. Because anything you guys ever add, anything you guys ever purchase, it's an investment. You want to make sure that you're going to be getting your return on investment. So the last thing that I like to see is people, they'll spend X amount on something and then they sit there and they never do real estate. And then they get all ticked off that they waste money and then they just have a bad taste for real estate. So, I mean, it's for the person who's ready to do deals. Like, it's for the person that says, you know what, this is the year. Like I've been saying, I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and I'm actually ready to start finding these deals and moving forward with offers.
What if you're brand new and you don't know how to calculate MAO, maximum allowable offer? Sierra asks, is there a calculator that they can plug into where they enter in an address and it calculates how much they should offer on the property? I've seen it in there, but Jenna?
Well, as far as like the CRM tools, we don't have those integrated into this version.
But the wholesale price that we give on.
Oh yeah. So, but I'll show you guys something here. Because I didn't even show comping. So like, it just reminded me. So I'm just going to show you guys, I'm going to throw in a property super fast. And then just like, when you guys talk about calculating the maximum allowable offer, I mean, like, we've all heard of like the standard 70% rule, 80% rule. I don't know if that's so old school or if people still talk about that kind of stuff, but really
it's different for every market. That's the thing. And so what drives me crazy about those rules is that that's assuming that every market's the same market. And that's not the case. But what I love about what we've done here in Deal Sauce is it's taking the aggregate data for that specific market and giving you a pretty good wholesale price. Now, I would say that wholesale price that we give you in Deal Sauce is about 75% accurate. If I was you, I would double check that either by talking to an experienced wholesaler in the area, DMing me, DMing a Keegley, and getting confirmation. But for me, 7.5 out of 10 times accurate is pretty damn good. That at least lets me get close enough or farther along enough to know if I should continue talking to this person or continue going down the line for this lead.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it so easy. So like, let's say that you have a property, you found this lead. Like, now it's time to analyze the property. And this is where we can see all the behind the scenes stuff, like bed and bath count. We're integrated with Google Maps. So if I click on this, I could virtually walk the area. So again, you can click on it. You can see if there's, what the property looks like. We can see it right here. We can turn around, see how busy the street is. We can basically see there's nice houses across the street, a 2-story. Actually, let me share this tab. I didn't even share it to you. So, we can see, here's our subject property, a 2-story southern kind of Florida type of a house with beautiful houses all around it. So basically, the worst house on the best block, as I guess we could say it in a very nice kind of way. But, we'll see 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2,000 square feet, who owns it, their mailing address, everything about it. We can see zoning, parcel ID, the lot size, how much they paid for it, when, how much they still owe on their mortgage. And then you'll see here, this is what Jamil was talking about. When you see this is called our AVM, which is our automated valuation model, which is basically the number that this property would most likely sell right now in an as-is condition at a retail kind of a price point. Now, the thing is, like he'd mentioned, like, you still need to do your work. You still need to pull some comps, because just because we put this on here, the system doesn't know if it has a beat up kitchen or if it needs a new bathroom or if it's burned to the ground. I mean, it's still technology. So this is going to give you an idea of what would this property potentially sell right now in the as-is condition, based on the age of it, the size of it, relative sales, things like that in the market. It's not to be confused with the after repair value, because, this is not the granite countertop stainless steel appliance version. This is just as is right now. And then if you take it to this wholesale number, this would be, okay, if I can get this property, if you hear something and like, let's say they're like, oh, I'll sell it for 200, 250, something like that. Like, you should be like, not, okay. Yeah. I mean, like, this should be your trigger of like, okay, I'm in the price point here. Like, this is potentially a good opportunity. And then you'll see things like, this rental number of what are the rents in that, what are the average rents, but you can pull your comparable properties right here in the system. So you can come in, change your bed and bath count, your distance, if you want to go to the last year, or if you want to bring it up closer. If you have single family, obviously you're just going to look for single family, but we can change, if this house is from, 1900 or so, or 1920, we might want to go to like a 1940 or whatever you want to do. But if we click on the word sold, it's going to give us the most expensive properties first, which would potentially indicate properties that are more renovated. And of course, you can go look at these properties. We can click on them. We can take a peek and see what it looks like. So if we come in here, we can say, all right, here's a comparable property. It looks like ours, just better. It's a 2-story Southern Florida. Everything is renovated. Again, I'm just trying to be, quick to be respectful of your time here. But, we say like, okay, that one sold for $550. Let's give that one a thumbs up. Let's just picture and imagine this is a good one. That's a good one. And then you can come in here and generate a report. But then we're going to basically know that our property is going to most likely, when it's renovated, finished, sell somewhere around 500K. Yep. And I mean, when you guys know that, we found all this just by basically pulling sold properties in the area. And these are all on market and off market sales. I'm a real estate agent and I come into this system to comp because I can't see properties on the MLS that sold off market. It just doesn't show those. So I can come in here and see on market and off market sold properties, regardless of non-disclosure areas, as long as it was MLS listed property.
How about Utah?
So let's go in here. Let me go back. So Utah.
We've got Mike in the chat who's been dying for a solution in Utah. And I told him that we had it in Deal Sauce.
Okay, let's look at properties that have been sold, let's say the last year. And let's see what we can find. Again, like let's hope that they were listed. So let's see what we can find here. Oh, it's an expired listing. Well, yeah, you guys can do that too. If you want expired listings, that's another super hot one.
How accurate are the expireds? We had Peter asking if they are within the last 48 hours. Do you know? Because I know we are connected directly to the MLS. When do we get the expired data?
I think we get it pretty spot on within a day or so. I think it's pretty quick. Or it may even be sooner than that. I mean, we should be pretty reliable.
I think from what I've seen from the expireds that I pulled, it was roughly under 24 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it that it's super delayed. I don't ever see it as delayed, but I also am not like on the hour every hour. So it's
with agents, they feel like, oh, the quicker that I can call on an expired list from when it gets expired, the higher my chance of getting in the appointment. I guess there is some credibility to that thought process, but on the flip side of it, oftentimes that's exactly when they're getting blown up. And so they're not even answering the phone for the first 24 hours. Cause it's like, and forgive me for saying it like this, but it's just VA after VA after VA after VA after VA calling on behalf of these agents. And so these people are pissed off. They're not wanting to talk to anyone right now. They've been getting calls from the Philippines all day long. And usually a couple days later, when all of that activity kind of fizzles out, that's when it's a good time to give them a call. So like, don't think just because it's like, you don't got it the same day that it's not good. No. Like timing is everything. And then also understanding the fact that the majority of these VAs that are calling on these expired listings, they don't even know what they're saying when they're talking to the homeowner. They're reading off a script like robots. Again, not saying this to be rude. I'm just stating the facts. It's like, hello, my name is Jamil Damji. I'm calling about your house that you have expired and you did not have a good time when you were selling it to your real estate agent. Is there a chance that you would like to sell your house with another real estate agent within the next 24 hours? And if you so, can I make you an appointment with my boss? His name is Jamil Damji Sr. and he would like to come to your house and show you why you should do this. Let me ask, if you got a call like that, how likely are you to continue listening to it and book an appointment? So like, you got to do that yourself. Get on the phone. And that's going to be like who you are and what you bring to the table is always going to be the differential. Always. It's not about how old is this data. It's like when am I doing the work and who's doing the work?
Yeah. So let me go back to share my screen here. So I was trying to find, yeah.
I lost you at hello.
No. My screen said it wasn't sharing. So that's why I had to unshare, reshare here. But I mean, I just was looking at properties that have been sold in the last year or sold in the past that had, that were in the Utah area. So, I mean, this is a property that was sold before. We can see that it was sold for this amount. We can see
how's our comping in Utah?
I don't know. Let's see. This is kind of, let's see. That's a single family, one level. So let's go to comparable properties. So
there we go.
So there you go.
Mike's been waiting for this. I promised him when it was, so Peggy, we definitely we partnered with RealFlow on aspects of this. And then we've also added our own pieces. So I would say Deal Sauce is the best of all. Like we took a bit of this, we took a bit of that, we took a bit of this, we took a bit of that, and we put it all together and we made Deal Sauce. Like any delicious sauce, it's a mixture of different sauces, right? So like Chipotle, mayo is a mix of mayonnaise and all the things that make a Chipotle. That's not to say that mayonnaise on its own isn't great or Chipotle on its own isn't great, but when you get a Chipotle mayo, it's different. So that's what we got. We got the Deal Sauce.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, these are your recipes. This is the stuff that you guys built out. Like the fact that you guys have residential and commercial in here, you can't get that anywhere. I mean, you guys include all that kind of stuff. I mean, the AI, all these different tools. I mean, this is so niche to your group, and those different combinations are, I mean, those are hot. Like those are some of my hottest recipes you guys just put in there. Like you just include them, which is, I mean, that's such a great value right there.
Can we give Jenna some love, guys? Let's throw this incredible human being just all the warm fuzzies in the chat. I'm so excited to work with you, and I'm so grateful that when I ask if you'll help me, I get, you know what she says? For Jamil, anything, anytime. And it means the world to me that that's how you treat me, because I adore you and I think you're so good at what you do. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I have an amazing partner in you, and that we get to do and have so much fun when we're on these calls. And so I know that we're going to be doing a lot more of these in the upcoming weeks and months. And Jenna and I are going to make some phone calls together. We're going to get yelled at and all the things, which is going to be super, super great. And we're going to take turns because, guys, she's an investor. She's damn good too. Okay. She's really good on the phone. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. And we're going to use these as opportunities to do a lot of learning, right? We're going to learn together. We're going to earn together. And that's for any of you guys who are just getting started, any of you guys who are looking for what's my action plan here? What are my steps? What are the things that I got to do from start to finish so I can get some deals under contract? Tune in every time Jenna and I are doing one of these lives. It's absolutely imperative for you to do that. Phenomenal for your success in this business. And we're just gonna keep bringing you guys the value. Jenna, I love you. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being a friend of this community. You're so valuable. You're so valuable. And there's so many people giving you your flowers in the chat because you're very deserving of them. And also, guys, can we give Yvette some love? She's backstage, but these events that we do don't happen without her. She's so helpful. She uses, so much of her resources of time that she has available in her day to make sure that you guys know that these events are happening, to make sure that you get the links, to make sure that you guys show up and all of the stuff. And so Yvette, thank you behind the scenes. I'd throw her on here right now, but I don't think she combed her hair this morning, so she would hate me for putting her on screen. But love you, Yvette. You're amazing, and I couldn't do anything without you. And guys, if we could get, so I counted, if 100 of you get on the trial today, okay? 100 of you get on the trial today, I'll start our next live with ketchup on my head. Go to rundealsauce.com, rundealsauce.com, sign up for the free trial, get saucy with it, tinker with it. Jenna and I are going to do another live before your free trial is over, so you're going to learn how to use this as we go. It's a 2-week free trial, right? 2 weeks. 2 weeks is a ton of time. That lets you really know if this is going to be valuable for you. Go to rundealsauce.com. I need 100 of you to sign up for this thing so I can put ketchup on my head. You guys are mean to me. If you're going to sign up for this, if you haven't yet, if you're on a competing platform and you plan to sign up for the free trial, just put a thumbs up in the chat. I need to know if I've got to go buy a new bottle of ketchup. Let me know how many of you are, because I'm going to get a quick count here. How many of you guys are jumping on the Deal Sauce train? Let me see you. Let me see. Give me a thumb. Give me your thumbs. We got a ton of people. I signed up. I just signed up. I just did. Amazing. Amazing. Let me know. Let us know in the chat, folks. 100 miles and running. Jumping now. Phenomenal. Lauren, amazing. Alexander, what's up? All right. I mean, it sounds to me like I'm going to have to wear ketchup next. Oh, my God. Is Yvette going to pour the ketchup on me?
Huh.
Who wants to see Yvette pour ketchup on my head on a live stream? Yvette?
That would be good.
Jenna, you're the best. I'll see you again. We'll be back in a week, guys. Don't know what date yet, but stay tuned to my emails and socials and whatnot, and we'll let you know what day. But we're gonna get to it. I love you, Jenna.
See ya.
You're the
See you,
sauce.
everybody.
Later, folks. Thanks for joining.